Can you imagine a holiday where you get free ice creams or museum tickets just for picking up litter? Copenhagen in Denmark is offering visitors exactly this. Copenhagen is rewarding its visitors for green actions, and it's changing how people explore this super green European city. Welcome. I'm Hilary, and this is a Learn Through Listening podcast. We are all about helping you learn to speak English through listening, with interesting topics like ecotourism in Denmark that make your English language practice feel effortless. Listening to stories like this helps to train your brain for English fluency, real words and phrases, and vocabulary that you will actually use. Listening to English is the most important step in your journey to speaking English fluently. So absorb some vocabulary and some grammar today by hearing about this scheme in Copenhagen. Canal cleanups in exchange for kayak rides. Or how about biking to work on an urban farm for the morning, or even cold water swimming and singing on Copenhagen's harbourfront. Sounds interesting? Let's get started. Like many people, I love what is known in English as a city break. For us, this means travelling to a city, usually within Europe, for a mini holiday or break for a long weekend. But have you ever thought how your city break might be affecting the environment? Many European cities are starting to count the cost of tourism. Places like Venice or Venezia have long been overrun by tourists, especially in the summer months. And this damages the environment, damages the city. In other places like Rome or Roma, perhaps, there are just so many tourists at certain times of year. It becomes difficult to navigate around the city. There are estimated to be some 35 million visitors to Rome every year. And it felt like that when we went last October, beginning of November. We were in low season, we thought, but my goodness, Rome was busy. Goodness knows what it's like in Rome in the summer. So in view of this problem, where European cities feel overrun by tourists, that's overrun, O-V-E-R-R-U-N, meaning they have too many tourists, in other words, some interesting ideas are starting to emerge in Copenhagen. That's the capital of Denmark, and somewhere that people go for a city break. And again, that trend of calling cities by the name that the locals, the inhabitants themselves use. So Copenhagen is København in Danish, or that's my best attempt. København. Gosh, it's quite difficult for an English speaker like me to abandon the English or anglicised city names that we are used to using. For the moment, I'll say both. And if you're interested in that topic, there is a subscription episode coming up on just that. The trend towards calling cities and countries what they call themselves instead of our own name. Anyway, many European cities have decided to introduce a tourist tax, TAX, perhaps to put off tourists, perhaps to make more money. København or Copenhagen have decided to do something different. Instead, they reward their visitors for making greener choices. If you reward someone, R-E-W-A-R-D, it means you give them something good, something nice, in return for their good behaviour. That's to reward. This is what we call the carrots, not sticks approach in English. It's better to reward people rather than to punish them to get the best from people. It's better to reward an animal with a carrot than beat it with a stick if you want the animal to behave a certain way. So København has a population of 600,000 people, and Denmark's capital is often said to be amongst the world's greenest cities. But it's a small city And last year, Copenhagen saw more than 12 million overnight stays. That means visitors staying overnight. That's a lot of visitors for a city that only has 600,000 permanent inhabitants, people who live there, in other words. So this new scheme started in 2024 when the city introduced CopenPay, CopenPay. That's the name of the scheme. And this is an app which rewards visitors if they act in an eco-conscious way. So visitors get the opportunity to work for a couple of hours cleaning the canals, CANAL, in return for a boat trip. Or visitors give a couple of hours of their time in communal gardens, or they pick up litter and are rewarded with tickets. Even visitors who use the metro instead of a taxi can earn free museum tickets, ice creams, or kayak rentals, or tickets to tourist sites like Kronborg Castle. In 2024, more than 5,000 visitors to Copenhagen participated in this scheme. And in 2025, the scheme was extended to run for 9 weeks of the summer season. It also got bigger, with now over 90 attractions, and even restaurants giving rewards to visitors for green behaviour and green activities. It even rewards visitors who arrive by train or who rent electric vehicles while they're there. If you're enjoying this inspiring story about tourism in Copenhagen, but you're finding the English a bit difficult, why not take one of our courses to improve your listening skills? The Adept English Activate Your Listening course will build your language skills and your knowledge of frequent use vocabulary to help you understand podcasts like this one more easily. Check that out on our website, adeptenglish.com. So was the scheme more popular in 2025? Well, absolutely. Now screens at the airport promote CopenPay as visitors arrive, and it's advertised on the sides of buses in the city. And the number of visitors taking part this year grew from 5,000 to 25,000. There was a 59% increase in bike rentals as a result. And another survey revealed that 70% of participants, people who use the scheme, well, they left feeling eco-inspired and wanting to adopt eco-friendly habits at home. Amongst the visitors to Copenhagen who took part, 98% were happy with the scheme. You can't get much higher than that, can you? People were pleased to have hands-on experience of activities around Copenhagen rather than just passive sightseeing, seeing what everyone else sees. In a minute, I'll tell you about a tourist's real-world experience of using CopenPay. What was it like? But first, a quote from Rikke Holm Petersen, the director of Copenhagen's tourist board. That's called Wonderful Copenhagen. He said, people are more open to new ideas when on holiday. And with CopenPay, we have shown that tourists are not only eager to engage, but are inspired to leave with more than a mermaid selfie. They take their new habits back home with them. A photograph of the mermaid is, of course, what lots of people do take home with them from Copenhagen. And a selfie, SELFIE, is a photograph you take of yourself, of course. Rikke Holm Petersen also said, many travellers are seeking new and unique experiences that allow them to engage with the destination rather than remain passive observers. We invite visitors to become part of our city, and that's the sort of tourism that many people like, not just seeing the sights that everyone else sees, but actually becoming part of Copenhagen for a weekend. What about that real-life report? Well, Adrienne Mary Nielsen is a BBC reporter for BBC Travel, and she tried out CopenPay for herself. First of all, she went for a morning dip and communal singing session, both popular Danish pastimes, apparently. So a morning dip, that means a bit of cold water swimming first thing in the morning at Copenhagen's harbour. A harbour, Harbour, is the part of a town or city that's by the sea, where the boats are. So following that morning dip, there was free coffee and a communal singing session to warm everybody up. This was a reward simply for turning up on foot, meaning as long as you walked there, this is what you could take part in. So apparently it's typical in Denmark to do open water swimming first thing in the morning and to enjoy communal singing. This is embracing local culture. Next, Adrienne Marie Nielsen rented a bike and pedalled, that means travelled on the bike, to where she could take a free hour-long boat trip along Copenhagen's canals. That was in return for doing some litter picking. That means picking up litter, Litter. Litter is rubbish that isn't in a bin, it's in the water or on the street where it shouldn't be. So in return for picking up rubbish, litter picking, these visitors were rewarded with a canal boat ride past the Danish Parliament building, churches and many other historic buildings, completely free because they were picking up rubbish. You can also hire a kayak for an hour, again in return for picking up litter. The only problem, apparently it's very clean, so there isn't much litter to collect. On another day, Adrienne Marie Nielsen also cycled, that's CYCLED, and again means went on a bike, out of the city centre to an old industrial area where now there is an urban farm. That means a farm in the city called Ernst Harvey or Island Garden. Apologies for my Danish pronunciation there. If you're interested, Ernst Harvey is Oenshave. This is a garden amongst warehouses and boatyards. This BBC travel reporter said, "It's a veritable green oasis where sunflowers reach skyward and butterflies and bumblebees dance on the purple cornflowers and strawberry patches alongside a hen coop and beehives." That's your chance to practice with some more difficult English. So don't be surprised if you don't understand all of that first time. Anyway, Adrienne spent a happy couple of hours deadheading flowers. That means taking off the dead flower heads so that the plants flower some more. What a lovely way to spend a morning. I'd really like that. And you, of course, see a different side of the city and get to talk to other people. What an interesting idea. Rikke Holm Petersen again. We want tourism to be a force for positive change, not an environmental burden. That's inspired. And other people think so too. There's been a lot of international interest in the CopenPay scheme. The cities of Bremen and Berlin in Germany, Helsinki in Finland, and Amsterdam in the Netherlands are interested in implementing similar schemes. That's planned for 2026. So some brilliant ideas for ecotourism. If you're interested in travel, why not listen to our podcast 826, which describes a very non-eco form of travel, that is flying by plane, but gives you stories about the crazy things people try to bring on board planes. That's coming up next, or pause and restart if you want to listen again to this one.